dogs are man's best friend? Well, in this video, they are gonna be girls' best friends. So join me and my foxy friend Millie as we set out to build a house for every dog in Minecraft. Let's do this. All right, we have a lot of dogs to build houses for, so let's get started with some tools and food and a bed. So obviously, as usual, we've got to punch a few trees to get ourselves some wood. And then once we've done this, we can go ahead and get ourselves some stone and then search for some sheep. Okay, wooden pickaxe acquired. Let's get down into this weird little cave thing and grab ourselves some stone. And I think, you'd think I'd know how many pieces of stone I need at this point because I literally do it every single time, but I'm gonna go for like 20 just to be safe because we want a full set of tools and we also want enough for a furnace. Okay, pickaxe, axe, shovel, sword, and plenty for a furnace. So we actually need 17. I won't remember that, but it's good to know. Now here we have a few sheep, which is perfect because apparently I'm very hungry right now. We could do with a third sheep. Oh, there is one. And a fourth sheep. Any more sheep running around? Oh, yep, I see one over here. Let's grab you. Thank you very much. This seems as good a place as any to put down our food and get that smelted. And we also can just put down our crafting table and grab a few of these flowers so we can dye our wool and make ourselves a bed. And let's make sure we've got enough pieces of wood to be able to do that. Perfect. Just gonna grab these few pieces of meat right now so that we can actually eat and not be starving. But whilst the rest of it cooks, I am just gonna grab a little bit more wood so we can make ourselves a few double chests. Unfortunately, this particular sheep has walked by me, so I am gonna steal the meat. And to be honest, I need to add a little bit more wood here so that I can actually smelt the last few pieces. But once this is done, we can head out for some more materials, which I'm really excited about because I really want to meet all of these dogs. I headed out and beelined for the caves where I picked up iron and coal for tools and armor. I also grabbed bones and gunpowder. Above ground, I started searching for mangrove and acacia wood, picking up oak and spruce along the way. I picked up some sand, sandstone, dirt, and leaves. And lastly, I grabbed rice, wheat, and sugar before heading home. Alright, this may be kind of ridiculous, but I want my house to be kind of dog themed as well, and I feel like the easiest way to explain this will be just to show you. But to try and explain it, the way that I'm gonna make this dog themed is that on Pinterest I saw a dog house with a big bone on top of it, and I kind of want to stick that on top of my house because it's going to be the centerpiece of this entire build, and I feel like it should be thematically appropriate. And I feel like if you were coming here to adopt one of my future doggies, you're gonna need a very obvious indicator of where the owner of the establishment is, and the big bone on top of this house should give that away, if that makes sense. Okay, that's kind of our foundation done. I will fill this in later, but for now, let's get to work on our frame, starting with a little... what are we going to call it? A doorway. So I'm going to make a really cute archway with these sandstone blocks. But how am I going to do this? I guess just like that. Then we can get rid of these extra pieces, add our upside down stairs, add a slab, and then do the same on the other side. Then we can add in some birch facing this way. Oh, actually on top of these bits here. And then let's just make sure all of this is stripped. And here's how we're looking from the front. So like I said, we just need to do the same thing all along the back and the sides where these pieces of birch are facing upwards. Although I think what I'm going to do is actually just add in these posts first and then add in the details. Apart from on this block because I'm not going to join these up just yet. That's our frame pretty much done. We of course have to add in our palisades like we did on the front, and we need to make sure all of this birch is stripped. Now that we've got the frame foundation all sorted, it's time to bring this build to life a little more with some walls and windows. So that's the walls and windows pretty much done. Let's add in some details because this is looking a little bit bare. And I feel like this is the perfect way to just make the windows look a little bit more fancy. So let's just do the same on the other two windows. Gonna have to squeeze through this little gap here, and let's close off our entrance. So I'm just gonna go across with this kind of block here, add in an upside down stair, and then we'll use the oak planks either side of the door. Then let's add in our door right here, and to cover this gap we'll use a trapdoor. Perfect. Just before we move on to the roof, let's add in a little bit of leafy details because of course it is not an end build without it being absolutely covered in leaves. For the the roof, I went with mangrove wood because honestly, it is such a perfect contrast to the birch. I feel like it just makes it pop in the best way. Plus, I am a tiny bit obsessed with this color. When I first started playing Minecraft, I remember hoping and praying for like a red toned wood that just didn't exist. But eventually the Minecraft gods answered with mangrove, and I've loved it ever since. With the roof finally wrapped up, it's time to add that big old bone on top that I mentioned what feels like forever ago now. Honestly, this part should be pretty straightforward, and I'm really excited about it because I feel like it's just going to tie the whole build together and give that quirky standout detail that we've been building up to. So once it's in place, I cannot wait to take a step back and see the whole house come together in all of its glory. Now with our basic bone shapes finished, we're gonna add in a little bit of a birch frame around it to hopefully make it look a little bit better and I guess just more impressive. And just like that, our house is complete. I just spent a little bit of time adding some furniture to the inside of our house. Nothing too crazy, just something to make it look a little bit more cozy. We have this little kitchen area, which of course is for a bunch of storage. Then we have our living room. Again, all of this is storage. And obviously this is our bed. I was kind of worried what I was going to do with these little window things because obviously it's a little bit strange that they poke out inwards. But unfortunately I just had to use this kind of block to get the outside window to look like this. But honestly, I feel like I worked around that pretty well. Then up here we just have a little extra storage area with all of our chipped mod benches, our normal benches, a couple furnaces, and just a little bit of extra storage. And before we can actually get to work on our doggy houses, we need some food. So let's just get a farm set up real quick and then we can get moving with, of course, the dog houses. We've already done a simple outline with some of our birch and sandstone and of course some leaves. So we just got to get this water in and of course get all of the land tilled. I added a few pieces of just dirt path around the area and I got rid of a few pieces of normal dirt so that I could add in some of this chipped mod rough dirt just to add a little bit of interest to the area and make it look like I put a little bit more effort in than just tilling a bunch of land and surrounding it with a few fences, if that makes sense. With that done, let's finally get this wheat planted. And there we go. No more hungry humans, foxes, or puppies. Of course, I know that they don't eat the wheat like I do, but I just felt like saying it. Okay, so let's start with our worker dogs. The Australian Shepherd, the German Shepherd, and the Border Collie. These guys tend to be livestock dogs, so I feel like it makes sense to put them all in one little ranch style house together. Millie, I'm gonna need you to stop doing that. So as usual, I'm starting this house by just marking out the foundation, and apparently it's proving to be really difficult because Millie just keeps jumping in the way and also I keep misplacing blocks. And speaking of misplaced blocks, I've just realized I misplaced this entire section. So I'm gonna have to get rid of this whole line right here of spruce log and just move it over one. So it's not really the end of the world, but it is a little bit annoying. Right, now that all of that's in place, we just gotta join up these edge pieces with our spruce plank. Nope. Our spruce slabs even. And let's hop across to the other side. And then we just need to make sure that all of this spruce is stripped. And now to finish off the foundation, we just need to fill in all of these gaps with our spruce slabs. Since we're going for a ranch style house here, I figured that acacia wood was the perfect pick. When I think of a ranch, for some reason, I mainly picture the Badlands, which is full of terracotta and just warm tones in general. So I feel like acacia wood mixed with the spruce here fits that vibe perfectly, or at least it will once it's stripped to reveal the orange color. So that is the frame pretty much done, and as I mentioned, all of this acacia wood does need to be stripped, so let's get that done. Alright, perfect. I feel like acacia gets a bad rap, but it is a pretty nice tone of orange, if you have to say anything nice about. For the walls of this one, we're going to use some acacia planks, making sure to leave a lot of space for a lot of windows to make sure it's nice and bright and airy inside. Along the front, I'm just going to add in the planks along the bottom bit, and then all of this will be windows. Now for the doorway, we're just going to use a bunch of acacia planks. Let's also use an upside down acacia stair, and of course add in a door. Perfect. Now let's get back inside and fill in the rest of the walls. We're just going to copy what we did on this side on this side. Then I'm just going to completely fill the back in with the planks. Then just to prep for the roof tomorrow, I'm going to add in some extra blocks up here. And then we can go to bed after I do the other side. Okay, I almost forgot to add in these extra details on the back here, but after we do this, we can go to bed. Now just real quick before we head up onto the roof, I want to add in some extra leafy details. So let's do that. Alright, I've added leaves and some of these trapdoors all the way around the sides and backs. Let's get ourselves up onto the roof. For the roof, I'm going with a combination of spruce slabs and trapdoors, basically creating a kind of acacia wood sandwich with the spruce acting as the bread, but it just gives a nice layered look without it being too busy. And to lean a little more into that ranch style aesthetic, I'm adding a raised section right in the middle of the roof, and I have absolutely no idea what it's officially called. I know it has a name, I just can't remember it. So if any of you know, feel free to drop it down in the comments and educate me as usual. For this extra roof bit, we're just going to go in 3 blocks on either side, and then we're just going to join this up with acacia logs. Then we can build this up, making sure to leave some spaces for some windows. So that will be a window, this will be a window, and you guys get the idea. Did I do something wrong here? Nope, I did it right. Shock. Now we just need to build this up like so. Do we just need to go one across? I think we do. Then we just need to do this like that. Okay, yeah, this is gonna work out fine, I think. Just a little bit confusing for me right now. All right, perfect. Carrying on with the roof here, we're just gonna add in the slabs one thing up at a time, just like this. And then we also need to add in the little detail of these other pieces being 1 block lower, just so there's a little bit more of an interesting thing going on at the side of the house, because right now it's not looking very good. Now with both sides done, we have the lovely task of trying to figure out how to connect this up with the roof that we've built, because it is facing the opposite way. So I think what I'm going to have to do is bring this out to the edge like this, and then kind of just copy this situation that we had going on with the main roof. And let's also not forget to add in this detail of the lower pieces so that it doesn't look so weird on the side here. Now we can just go ahead and make this go all the way across the top here, and let's fill in all of these gaps. And that is our first doggy home complete. For the interiors, I've kept it super simple. We've got a bunch of storage. This right here is the doggy bath. And then over here, we have a furnace to cook our rice to feed our dogs. Now, I know we could feed the dogs steak and, you know, like normal stuff, but I kind of don't want to make a cow farm. So we're going to use rice grains and then make it into rice bowls that they'll enjoy, hopefully. And of course, we have a bed for each dog, plus a food bowl, and then this water bowl, which isn't part of the dog mod, but it does look nice. So let's head out and grab ourselves some dogs. So we have 3 tamed wolves. Of course, they are not quite yet the Australian Shepherd, the German Shepherd, or the Border Collie, but don't worry, they will be eventually. I've just got to lead them back to the house, and then I'll show you how. So what we need to do first is give each dog a training treat, which turns it into, I guess, a vanilla Minecraft wolf at first, and then we can go ahead and change them. Then we can right click each one with a stick, which brings up this lovely little thing for them, and then you can change their style. So we're looking for the Australian Shepherd. Oh my gosh, that is the cutest thing ever. Oh wait, there's different options. Ooh, which one do we want, guys? I feel like this one, right? Maybe the brown one. Maybe the black one, I don't know. I'm gonna go with this one because I know someone that has this exact dog and it's literally adorable. Oh my goodness. Next up, we're going for the German Shepherd. It's so cute when it moves like that. And then finally, we are going for the Border Collie. Oh my goodness, I can't handle this. This is truly the cutest thing ever to happen to Minecraft. What you can do with these dogs as well is keep feeding them different types of training treat, and it will level them up so that they can do different tricks and stuff. But unfortunately, that is not the point of our video today, but it is really cool that you can do it. And if you have a throw bone, you can of course throw it and they will go and fetch it, which is truly, again, the cutest thing ever. Before we head out for some more materials, I'm gonna grab some rice bowls and make sure our dogs have a few few pieces to eat. Oh my goodness, I guess that dog was hungry. Okay, let's head out for some more materials. I headed back underground for iron, coal, diamonds, stone, deep slate, moss, bones, string, gunpowder, and clay. I then picked up everything I needed for concrete and terracotta. I topped off my sand, wood, and leaves. Then I grabbed some more rice and sugar before heading home. Our next batch of sweet little babies is our pugs, French bulldogs, and English bulldogs. And I'm gonna be so honest, I'm putting these guys together just because they all have flat faces. And I also feel like this house is gonna be the house with the loudest breathing ever. Now, I don't really have a set aesthetic plan for this one that ties into the specific dog breeds or anything, but I do want to make sure each dog house has its own unique style and vibe. That way things stay fun and don't get super repetitive as we go along. And honestly, even if you're not planning to house every dog in Minecraft, which fair enough, you could totally use this video for general house inspo. I feel like little cozy builds like this would work great as a starter home, a decorative cottage maybe, or even just fun little storage sheds. And on another note, I feel like once we're all finished up here, we're gonna end up with a super fun, really unique village kind of vibe, which I'm absolutely here for. So that is pretty much the foundation and frame sorted. Let's fill in the walls. So we're gonna go for a mix of just normal stone and stone bricks all the way along the bottom here. And then, well, we're still gonna go ahead and do a mix of both those things for the rest of this. Then on this level here, we're gonna add in a little window and then just carry on again with the stone and stone bricks. All right, that's the other side of the wall built up and a little bit of a base for our roof. But before we get up there and do the roof, let's fill in the walls. So on this side, sorry, I forgot to breathe during that sentence for some reason. On this side, I'm gonna build up the walls just with our spruce planks and leave this little gap for a window. And then on this side, we're just gonna go across like this, build up that bit and this bit, add in a couple windows here, and then let's add our doorway. Like I said, this one doesn't really tie back to the vibe of a specific dog breed the way that the ranch style house did, but honestly, I feel like it would be perfect in a spruce village or just as like a tiger based area. I've given it that rugged, stony look with all of the spruce wood and spruce leaves for detailing, so it really leans into those colder, foresty vibes right away. And if you weren't using it as a little dog house, I could totally see this working as a blacksmith's hut or even just like a mini barn. Like, thinking about it, I could probably see maybe like a pig barn right now with like a little open pen area on the side, although if it was for pigs, I'd probably swap the floor out for dirt or mud, just so they have something to roll around in, obviously. So even though this isn't going to be a barn, I do still quite like the idea of this having a little open area, so let's get that done. Although, I do want to take out a few of these pieces right here and replace it with hay bales so that we can just have a little bit of extra detail going on along the outside. Then we can build out this little bit right here so that we can add in an awning. Okay, I actually moved everything along one just because I feel like I needed to, and yeah, let's just get this thing filled in. And with the awnings done, I'm just finishing up by adding in a chimney. Let's just place our campfire in the middle, put up all of these trapdoors, and let's see how we're looking. I've just gone ahead and quickly done the interiors. We have the exact same thing, the furnace, the dog bath, and of course our food bowls and some beds. And by no surprise, our house is looking super duper cute. Let's head to bed real quick and then we'll head out to go get our dogs. So I feel like it's gonna get a little bit hard to keep finding wolves in the wild like this. So I think I'm gonna lead these guys back and then feed them some beef. And then hopefully they'll give birth to a little doggy and then we can sort of go from there. I don't think... Oh, there's another wolf right there. I'll take you, thank you. But I don't think that once I've turned them, I can make them breed easily because they have like a whole other thing that they need to be able to breed. So I'm going to breed them before that point, and hopefully that will make wolf finding much easier in the future because they'll just be in my house. So let's give these two guys some beef. Very, very cute. And then they'll have a little tiny baby for us. And we are all good. Where's the other dog gone? Dog number 3. Where are you? Maybe up on top? Oh, okay, right. Well, what are you doing up there? I do actually need them to come down, but I guess I can just run away and they'll follow. But I do need to make sure this little one stays sat down. I feel like I need to kind of wait and breed them again so that I can take all 3 of them over to get all 3 kinds of dogs that I need for the house. Okay, there's our second little baby. Let's make sure he's sat down. And let's get ourselves over to the house so we can take the big dogs over. Are they gonna follow me? Is that all 3 of them? Yes, it is. Okay, let's go. Let's make sure to feed them all a training treat. They all do a backflip. Incredible. And let's turn them into what they're meant to be. So this right here is our pug. Again, absolutely adorable. This one here is our French Bulldog. And finally, we have our English Bulldog. And these might be the cutest dogs ever. Actually, they're all incredibly cute, but I do really love these ones. In real life too. And with that, let's move on to our next dog house. Okay, so Basset Hounds and Beagles, I know in my head are 2 very different dogs, but in my heart, they might be the same dog, which is why they're gonna live together. I'm gonna call this the house for dogs that kind of look like they're melting, but in the cutest way ever. Alright, so for this one, we're gonna be adding only 2 puppies, which means we can keep things nice and small, but of course it's still very cute, because when do we not go for cute around here? I'm thinking just a cozy little build, nothing too wild, but still with enough detail to feel special. And honestly, if this wasn't a dog house, I feel like the design would make the perfect little storage cottage. We're keeping the layout super simple, but I've still added my usual mix of block textures and whatnot, and maybe some trapdoors for details. Who knows? But we're gonna bring a little overgrown charm because I physically cannot build anything without adding leaves somewhere. So I've sort of gone ahead and outlined everything that I need to, and in between each of these gaps here, I'm gonna add in some windows. Of course, I will make the windows much taller, but for now they're just markers. Now let's get to work building up the walls. So we're gonna go up just 3 more like this, but we kind of want this one here to be facing the other way. I should probably get my axe out, honestly, but never mind. Then we also need to build up the rest of these posts and get rid of these extra pieces. Okay, with that done, now let's actually build these walls up. So we're just going to build these up with these cobblestone bricks, just either side like this, and then in between here we're going to do some upside down stairs. Perfect. Then for the rest of it, we're just going to do a little mix of the mossy stone bricks and of course the normal ones. And I completely forgot that I had this different type of brick for the top part. So I'm just going to get rid of all of these pieces right here, and we're going to go all the way around with this block instead. Okay, now all of the walls are filled in. Let's finish filling in all of the windows. So we're obviously just going to do this all the way down in the gaps. And to be honest, I think I said that this would make a really good storage cottage, but I honestly feel like this would make a brilliant greenhouse. Now all that's left to do before we add on our roof is kind of fill in the base for our roof. So we're just going to do a little bit of a random selection of these 2 different types of slabs. Just not like that, just like this. Now in each corner I'm going to place one of these mossy cobblestone slabs, and would you look at that, I've missed a piece. And then in all of the gaps here we're just going to add in all of this moss. And with our roof nicely framed, here is how we're looking. Cute. So to wrap the exterior of this house up, we're just going to bone meal all of this, but we're also going to get rid of all of these azalea bushes because we don't actually want those. And we're just going to add some height with leaves. And with our little interior done, let's go get our dogs. So let's unsit a couple of these, and I think I'm going to get the ones that are up in the... Is that both of them or was that just one? Okay, that was just one. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, hopefully you've learned a lesson there. Oh my gosh. Okay, or not. Are they both standing? Okay, they are. We're good. Let's go. Come on, guys. Is that both of them? It is. Let's make sure our door is closed, even though it doesn't really matter. And let's give these guys an identity. And now we have our Basset Hound and our Beagle. Not sure why he's staring at the wall. This one is so cute. He's just like sitting in the bed. Actually, if I make him sit like this, oh my goodness. Look at me. Oh my gosh. That is the sweetest thing ever. Where's the other dog? Oh, there he is. Oh my goodness, look at this. I can't handle it. I literally cannot handle it. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, have a treat. Have a treat. I love that. You can have a treat too. Perfect. Now they're both sitting very sweetly in their own beds. Let's move on to our next few dogs. Next up, we're making what I'm affectionately calling the Terrier House, because in this house there will be 5 different terriers. The Bull, the Cairn, the Irish, the West Highland White, and the Jack Russell Terriers. This one, the inspo is kind of like a mix between a cozy little hobbit house and maybe just a tiny bit Teletubbies? Just hear me out here. I've already dug it slightly down into the ground and my plan is to cover the whole roof in moss, kind of like what we did for the Beagle and Basset Hound house earlier. But this time I'm gonna go for a more dome shape just to really sell that snug, tucked into the earth kind of feel. Either way, it's obviously gonna be very cute, mossy, and very green on top. So I'd say that's the frame pretty much done. Let's build up the walls. And we're only actually going to need to build up the front side of the walls because the back side is going to be like a dome that slopes down like that and is all covered up. And if you have no idea what I'm saying, you'll eventually see what I mean. So I'm going to do a little alternate thing of concrete here and add in some glass in the middle. Then above each piece of glass, we're going to go for some red terracotta instead of red concrete. And in the gaps, we're going for red concrete. Now that's pretty much the face of this thing done, but we still need to fill in this entire roof type area. So let's get to bed and then of course we'll do that tomorrow. So we're gonna work on the roofing from the inside so that we can use our upside down stairs this way. Have I done something wrong here? I feel like yes I have. But then again, maybe not because we are dug down into the ground. Nope, that looks right to me. So that's the back part all filled in. Let's add in our trapdoors for extra detail. Then up here, I'm going to do a couple rows of just spruce slabs. And then we're going to fill in the gap with more spruce trapdoors. And once we get this part done, that will be the base of our roof done. So with the base of the roof done, it's time to fill this entire thing in with moss blocks. Then of course, with some extra leafy details and some lighting, we are pretty much done with the exterior of this house. Perfect. And of course, here's how we're looking for the interior. So we have our furnace, we have our dog bath, and we have all of our beds and food bowls. Now all that's left to do is grab our doggies. Honestly, terriers are so funny to me because it'll just be the cutest little guy you've ever seen, and then you'll find out that they were bred to actually dive into foxholes and whatnot. Meanwhile, it's just a cute little guy. But also, Millie, please be careful because that means that some of these guys are actually your enemy. Although I'm sure we're all very safe right now because this is not real life. Although, to be fair, they haven't been turned into their terrier forms yet. So you never know, they might become a little bit hostile towards Millie, but I really, really do doubt it. Where's the other one? Oh, wait, no, that's only 4. Where's number 5? Are they still outside? Oh, yep, still outside. Come on, get in here. So first up, we have the English Bull Terrier. In real life, these guys look so funny, but they are super duper cute still. Then we have the Cairn Terrier, which I believe originates from the Scottish Highlands. Third, we have the Irish Terrier. Very, very adorable, although he does look a little bit stuck in the wall right now. So if maybe they could get out of there, that would be great. Thank you. This right here is the Western Highland White Terrier, also known as a Westie. These things in real life are absolutely adorable. My boyfriend actually used to have one as a kid and I cannot get over how cute the little pictures of him are. Oh my gosh, I can't cope. Oh my. Okay, we need to turn this dog into a Jack Russell. I'm definitely torn between this one and this one, but to be honest, my best friend has a little Jack Russell called Sid and he looks just like this little guy, so I cannot resist. And here we have all 5 of our terriers in our terrier dog home. Oh my gosh, what a cutie. Ah, okay, they're also sweet. Let's move on to the next dogs. Wait, actually, before we move on to the next dogs, I've got to build some storage. So as I said, we've reached the point in the video where my inventory is stressing me out because I just sort of am throwing everything everywhere. And I think we need a dedicated storage space to make sure everything is all in one place from now on, at least. Starting, of course, with the foundation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I've miscounted on this side. All right, all oak. So let's get the center of this all filled in with some oak planks. Then let's add in some oak slabs on this bit so we have a little step up and just a couple right here. So then we can take our shovel and create a little bit of dirt path just to make a slight path up to our storage area. So for our storage build, my plan is to have it match match the main house pretty closely, of course just much smaller. That way it's super clear that this is part of the main base setup and not another dog house popping up in our puppy village. That being said, I'm still going to sprinkle in some dog themed details. I was thinking of adding like a little paw print design on one of the walls, just like a subtle touch to keep the theme running throughout the whole area without going too overboard. But before we think about that too much, let's get these frames finished off. Now for the middle bit of the frame, we're just going to go all the way up to the same height here and then go just 2 more higher and then another one higher to do a big line of this all the way across the top. Now on the other side, we can just do this, easy peasy, and then we need to add in some trapdoors just like this. Now all that's left to do is to build right back up here and make sure all of this birch is stripped. And that is our frame done. Now we're going to go ahead and get our walls filled in, which should be pretty straightforward. We're just going to build up these sides completely with these birch blocks. Then along the back here, we're just going to fill in this whole thing, not with that block. Let's just get rid of those planks for a second, and then let's fill this in with our birch planks. Finally, we're going to fill this part in with, again, the same planks. But then on this part, we're going to go like this and add in a little archway with the oak. And then we can add in our door and a little bit of cute detailing with these stairs and these pillar trims. Perfect. Now with some details added, it's time to deal with our paw print. So you're going to have to bear with me here because I'm not 100% sure how to get this to look right, but I'm going to give it a good go, that's for sure. I think we need to do trapdoors on this block. I feel like that kind of looks like a paw pad situation. Then on this block and this block, we're going to use palisades, and then we're going to use trapdoors on the side of these. Then I think if we do stairs this way and this way with a fence gate in the middle and trapdoors underneath, maybe? I think, ow, I think that might be it. 1 second, let me get rid of all of these extra blocks that I placed, then we can take a little step back and hopefully it looks like a really, really cute paw print. Okay, perfect. I've gone ahead and done the same to the other side, and I added a little bit of extra detail on the front. Now all that's left to do is the roof, and just like our main house, I'm going in with the mangrove wood, just because I love the warm, rich tone of it, and I feel like it also ties everything together really nicely. It's also just really satisfying to have some consistency between the buildings, especially when the other dog houses themselves are also different. So I feel like this little touch of matching material really helps everything feel a little more organized. Now we have all of this storage space, let's go get some more materials to fill it. And just in case you're wondering before I head off, this is how the storage area looks from the outside completed. I headed underground for stone, iron, coal, string, bones, gunpowder, diorite, clay, and looted an ancient city for candles. I bone mealed some azalea bushes for their leaves and picked up oak and dark oak wood. I grabbed some spruce and then traded with a librarian for a silk touch book, which I put on a spare pickaxe and then collected red mushroom blocks. So our next house is going to be for our large dogs. I am talking Napoleon Mastiffs, Great Danes, Afghan Hounds, and of course, St. Bernards. There are no Bernese mountain dogs in this mod, but if there were, they would certainly live here too. When I was younger, a friend of mine's mum had 2 of them, and it was honestly like just being in a house with 2 bears the whole time. But they were gorgeous though, absolutely stunning. Now that our frame is done and detailed, let's add in some walls. To fill in the second half of our walls, I'm just going to go all the way across with this wool here, and then just do a little mix of wool and our white concrete powder. The question is, do I want to go here with the windows or here with the windows? I think here. And I am really loving how this is turning out so far. Let's get up there and get a roof on this thing. Let's start by doing this smaller bit of roof right here. Just like that, and then we'll add another layer of stairs right across the top here. Although, do we want to do that? I feel like yes. Then to fill this in, we're just going to go up a level here with the slabs, just like this, and the same for this bit. And with these last few blocks, our roof and our little awning roof is complete. You may be thinking it's looking a little bare right now, and that is because I haven't had the chance to cover this thing in leaves just yet. So just doing that right now, and then we should be done. Then for our interiors, we've done the same with the beds and the food and the water. Then outside, I've added a few more things of food and of course some storage, a furnace, and our doggy bath. Honestly, I feel like you only need one bowl per room, but I feel like it's also nice to know each dog has its own food. Oh, I'm stuck on a wall. Brilliant. Oh, and this is what this side of the house looks like. Okay, I'm gonna come back in the daytime and also not be stood in a tree when I try to show you that. There we go. This is what the front of the house looks like. Let's head back to the house one more time so that we can grab our dogs to turn into a lot of other dogs. I'm gonna have to look at my list. I just realized earlier I called this the Napoleon Mastiff, and what I meant was the Neapolitan Mastiff. So, oops, but there he is. Next up, we have the Great Dane, and I feel like I always think of them as like a gray color. Like that's the iconic Great Dane color, I feel like. Where are all my other dogs? Hello? Are they outside? Because I haven't made them sit. Yep, okay, they're outside. Everyone back inside, please. All right, sit down. Thank you. You sit down too. And now we can look for this guy. So this one here is gonna be the Afghan Hound. Oh my gosh, that is a dog and a half. Let's go for... okay, I kind of like this color. Okay, look at me. Oh my gosh, okay. These types of dogs just need to be added to vanilla Minecraft because they are adorable. And finally, we have the St. Bernard. But I did notice while searching through these that we do actually have the Bernese Mountain Dog. So I kind of feel like we need this as well. But we're just going to go ahead and get ourselves the St. Bernard. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I couldn't resist, so I got the mountain dog too. But here is our house for our big doggies. They're all so cute. I love this one so much. The next house that we're going to build is going to be on the fancier side because it's going to be for the dogs that I imagine to be a little bit posh. Our canine royalty, you could say. And by that, I mean corgis, poodles, Pomeranians, and King Charles Spaniels. For this one, the plan is to go for a more tower or like mini castle type vibe. Not obviously like a full-on royal palace level of grandeur or anything, but definitely something with that slightly fancy, elevated feel. And I feel like this kind of design is gonna fit the more regal dog breeds really, really well. So I'm sticking with stone brick detailing to give it that classic fairy tale structure feel, and I'm thinking it'll be good to also add some battlements to the top of the tower. And of course, I'm gonna cover this thing in leaves when we're done, just to give it that extra super old building, been here forever type look. Now for the top bit, we're going to place a wall down on this block here, and then we're going to build up two with these blocks. Then in between these two blocks, we're going to go with a palisade and then a fence. Then we're just going to do the exact same thing all the way around, just like this. And then eventually we should have a nice battlement up here. I'm using that word so confidently, but I truly have no idea if it is the correct word for what I'm building here. But basically just those like square shaped bits at the top of the tower. I'm just now finishing off this little roof bit down here, and then we should be good to cover this thing in leaves. But before we do that, I do want to say that this is already looking really, really cool. So it's only going to look cooler once we cover this thing in leaves. Oh, actually, do I want to use oak leaves? I feel like I kind of want to use azalea leaves for this. So let's just build all the way up the sides and kind of around the entire thing. I kind of want it to look a bit more viney than just leafy, because hopefully that will give more of the vibe that we're trying to give off with this build. And I almost completely forgot to add a doorway to this place, so let's get that done with these trapdoors. Now just because these are fancier breeds, I didn't want to give them any special treatment, so they all have their dog bed and their dog bowl, and I'm just now realizing that I've done one too many, so let me just pick one of these up each and let's adjust the flooring. There we go. Now we're looking a little bit more even, and then over here we have our storage, our furnace, and our doggy bath. Okay, let's grab 4 dogs, and I think I'm gonna grab the ones from up here first just because they're kind of stuck up here actually. And then let's try and unsit this guy that just, well, it's not the same guy as earlier, but they just insist on sitting up there for some reason. And then we'll take this guy sitting on the kitchen counter. Are they all here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Let's get these guys into their little castle. And then let's turn them into the royal puppies that they should be. If they could all come inside, that would be great. What's going on? Oh, they're trying to come through the wrong doors. Of course they are. They're trying to do what Millie likes to do. Come over here. Thank you. Have a treat. Have a treat. Have a treat. And you can also have a treat even though you are stuck right now. So here we have our corgi and we have our poodle. Then we have our little tiny Pomeranian, which looks absolutely ridiculous next to our poodle. And finally, we have our King Charles Spaniel. How adorable are all of these guys? And of course, how adorable is Millie? Running through them all. Now on to our S house. We're going for the Schnauzer, the Shiba Inu, and the, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, the Samoyed? Samoyed? I don't know, but we're just gonna call them Sammies. I'm gonna be really honest, I don't know a ton about these dogs, so if you guys in the comments want to let me know anything about them, I would be forever grateful. I do like the Schnauzer's little mustache though, I think that's very cute. Alright, that is our foundation finished. This one's going slightly off the rails, but in the best way. So we're skipping the whole frame process this time because the main structure is really just gonna need to come together by using a bunch of our gorgeous diorite brick variations from the chipped mod. And for no reason other than pure vibes, I've decided that we're making this one a dreamy mushroom cottage. Like I said way back at the start of the video, the idea with these dog houses has just been to keep things interesting, trying out different styles, experimenting with some new blocks, and just having fun with it, honestly. And I do have a sneaky feeling that I might fall in love with this one. I mean, a whimsical mushroom cottage for dogs. You know that I'm gonna want to move in here myself by the end of this build. Okay, I'm gonna be so real right now. I think I may have accidentally gone a little overboard with this one. This house is definitely way too big for just 3 dogs. Like, I absolutely adore every single puppy house that we've built so far. Gorgeous, charming, 10/10 across the board, but none of them are living in a full-on storybook mushroom cottage, you know? I know I've already said it like a million times, but I really want to move into this house. Oh, okay, let's go get our dogs. It's for them and it's not for me. This is literally so ridiculous, but I've put a bed in each corner over here, and then I've put the 3rd bed over here because I didn't want this one to get like too lonely being so far away from these two if I put it in this corner over here. But in this corner over here, I have put our doggy bath, and then on this bit, we've done office, and I couldn't help but add in a couple of flower boxes. This place is just too cute. But let's turn these dogs into the dogs that they are supposed to be. So we are going for the Schnauzer first. Let's go for the white one. Is so cute, but I feel like I have to go for gray because that's the one that I would like think about if I thought about this breed. Oh my gosh, isn't she gorgeous? Next up, we're going for our Shiba. So let's just type in Shiba at the top here, and let's go for, I feel like we have to go for this one, right? Oh my gosh, why is it doing that with the floor? That's so cute. And finally, we're going for our Sammy. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is gonna be incredible. Oh, it's like a little white bear. That's so cute. Okay, let's not pick that one up. We can't see a thing. I guess we're just gonna have to lead them over to their respective beds. And hopefully they follow me. Oh, they do. Very, very cute. So I can carry this one, okay? Let's put her down over here. And then let's put this little lady over here. That's the only way we can do that. Let's put her down there. Take a seat. Oh my goodness. Okay, we have literally the cutest dogs ever. And of course, the cutest little fox. Sorry, Mills. I'm not forgetting about you. I'm just being overloaded with cuteness right now. And just before we head out for some more materials, I feel like this is a good point to check in on our progress. And of course, everything is a little bit far away from each other right now, but I promise I will be connecting everything up by the end. But of course, it is not yet the end, so let's get ourselves back down to the safety of the ground. And as I said, head out for some more materials. In the morning, that is. I headed out for more wood, adding jungle to the mix. I picked up some snow, dirt, sweet berries, leaves, straw, and wool as well. Then I headed underground for deep slate, stone, iron, diamonds, and azalea leaves. Lastly, I picked up some sand and everything I needed for more dog treats. Alright, so I've grouped labs, goldens, and dalmatians together because they are like the dogs. And I feel like when you think of the abstract concept of a dog, you think of one of these guys. They are the stock image of dogs. When you Google dog, this is what pops up. Quite literally the base model dog, I feel like. I'm gonna build my way up here. Let's just get a little bit closer. Then in each corner, we're gonna do some upside down stairs and then some trapdoors. Then in the middle, let's do another one of those, a couple more of these, and then some of those. Oh, and a row of these. Let's also add some of those details to this part here. It's kind of hard to see what we're doing here because it is dark oak. But from a distance, you can tell that it looks a lot more interesting than this. Now with these final few blocks, this should be the roof finished. And I need to remember to actually put a campfire on top of our chimney here. But let's just finish this part first. Ooh, okay, perfect amount of blocks there. That's really satisfying. Let's add in our campfire and then trapdoors all the way around the side. And of course, with the build covered in leaves, I think we're good to go in and add our interiors. Let's start with a bed over under the window here. Let's also put a bed here and let's do here. Then let's surround the beds with some carpet so it looks even cozier in here. Then let's just do a bowl of food to the right of each one. Oh, I can't do that because the door's there. I guess we're going to the left. Then along this wall, let's do our cabinets just like this. Then we can add in our dog bath and our furnace. And finally, along this wall, we'll add in our water bottles. Now all that's left to do is go grab our dogs. Let's get these guys unsat and hopefully they make a little puppy. And we need to do these guys too. Perfect. Oh, where did they go? Oh, of course. They're up there. Now let's get ourselves back to the house so we can turn these guys into the breed they're meant to be by giving them a training treat. And there was Millie taking a really cute little nap under the tree. And there we have our lab, our golden retriever, and our Dalmatian. Let's get these guys into their beds and sat down, and then we can move on to our next dog house. Look at these guys just sitting down calmly. Maybe you could learn something from them. All right, welcome to the little guy house. And this one is based kind of on Hobbit houses, and not just because the dogs are so small. Inside we have our Hound, we have our Chihuahua, and we have our Shih Tzu. Oh wait, no, that's the Dachshund. Where's the Shih Tzu gone? Oh, there it is. I always think it's so funny that dogs can be so little and so bossy at the same time. A friend of mine actually had a Shih Tzu and you'd think that she thought she was a giant wolf the way she acted. That being said, I actually have a Chihuahua that looks just like this and she is the sweetest little thing ever. She's not super barky like most Chihuahuas you'd meet. Anyways, let's get these guys into their beds and move on to our next dog house. Where's the Shih Tzu gone? Oh, there it is. So my thinking is that the Huskies have to live alone because they are just too loud to not live by themselves. But I am going to do more than one Husky just so that they don't get lonely. But the nice thing is why I'm also building this house the farthest away from my house. Although I do have a feeling that they would start howling and set off all of the other dogs in the houses, so I don't think it really matters either way. Also, as a side note, since Huskies are known for loving those colder climates, I figured it only made sense to use some snow here on the roof. And with that, our Husky cabin is complete. So let's get ourselves inside and get some Huskies. There's a few different options here, so I think I'm going to try and go for a different one each time. So let's just type in Husky. Let's go for... What's the difference between these two? I'm struggling to see a difference, so I'll just pick that one. Oh my gosh, incredibly adorable. And then for the third one, we're gonna go for... I guess this one. Is that any different? Oh, I think there's like different markings on the nose and stuff. So they are very slightly different, but they are all very cute. Now there's our good boys and girl sat in their beds. Let's move on to our next doggy house. Now obviously we couldn't have a dog video without including the OG Minecraft dog, the classic wolf. For that house, I'm going with cozy log cabin vibes, kind of similar to the Husky house, but minus the snow. Just a nice, cozy, woodsy build that feels like it belongs tucked away in a forest somewhere. Something that says, I might chop firewood by day and howl at the moon by night, you know? Just rustic, warm, and perfectly fitting for our original fluffy companions. However, I will be giving in to my usual urges and covering the roof in moss and leaves because at this point I physically cannot resist. So with the walls and the roof done, we're looking nice and cabiny. Let's get ourselves up onto the roof and add all of that moss and leaves I was talking about. And again, I'm going to use the moss on the stairs to make sure it's all nice and covered. I forgot that I had this mod. But yeah, we're just going to make sure all of the steps are covered with some moss, and we're going to add in some moss all around here, just like this. Pretty much just all over the thing. And then we're going to mix in a little bit of azalea leaves and then oak leaves closer to the bottom. And with that, our lovely wolf cabin is complete. So let's get all of these dogs inside. I have opted to just take all of the dogs out of my house and put them in here, but some of these will be turned into different dogs later. For now, let's just get all of these guys sat down, and it'll be a lot easier to find the guys that I need to change later because they're all in this room and not on different floors of my house hiding on top of the bookcases. Is that all of them? Nope. That one. That one. All right. I think we're good. And with that done, this is the perfect time to check in on our little puppy village. And let's head out for some more materials. I topped off my dark oak, leaves, dirt, grass, and flowers. Then I headed underground for iron, coal, andesite, stone, string, bones, gunpowder, and diamonds for tool repairs. Once that was done, I topped off my rice and sugar. Last but certainly not least are dogs with big barks and big reputations to match. This one is going to be for the Boxer, the Doberman, and the Rottweilers. I feel like these get a really bad rap, but I've met plenty of really sweet ones, and it definitely just all comes down to proper training with any dog, honestly. This house is definitely pretty straightforward in design, but I've added these big chunky stone pillars on each corner to give it a strong reinforced kind of look, which I think fits perfectly for the dog breeds that will be calling this one home. I guess it's kind of like tough on the outside, but soft on the inside. Although I'm not sure I could argue that point very successfully beyond what I've just said. However, it is close enough to a good reason for building the house this way, so we're rolling with it. Now with the roof and the lighting done, let's finish this off by adding in some leaves. So we'll do a pile of leaves either side like this. And then in here, we'll do a couple leaves just like this. Then all the way along the front here, we're going to do some leaves. Oh, I can't reach over there. Brilliant. And we're also going to add some leaves up here. With our house finally complete, let's head over to the wolf cabin so we can grab a couple dogs to turn into our big dogs. So let's just take this guy, and this guy, and let's turn them into a Boxer. Ooh, which one do we want to go for? I think this one is kind of like the classic Boxer. Where did it go? Yeah, okay, that is adorable. Then we'll turn this one into a Doberman. Where did it go? Oh, it's over here. Stunning. And then let's turn this final one into a Rottweiler. Ooh, I feel like we go dark brown with this one. And let's get these guys into their beds. Oh, okay, are they coming? What's going on? They're like stuck outside. I guess I'm gonna have to pick them all up. So we'll put this guy in right here. We'll put this little lady next to that one. And our third and final dog is hiding in the corner. Oh, no, come back. Perfect. You may have noticed that all of our dog houses are pretty spaced out, which is super cute visually, but not very connected. So with our final dog house officially finished, I spent the next few days clearing out some of the surrounding trees and laying down pathways to bring everything together. I went with a cozy little mix of cobblestone, gravel, and dirt for the paths, which I think works really nicely with all the greenery in the area. From the trees we left standing to the leafy rooftops and grassy terrain, it adds contrast without feeling too harsh. Once the paths were done, I thought it'd be really sweet to add some little garden patches around each house. Not only does it bring in some extra color and life, but I like to imagine that they double as enrichment spaces for our new puppy friends. Somewhere to sniff around and play while also making the whole area feel more detailed and lived in. So here's how we're looking with all of our pathways and our gardens, and I think it's safe to say that we are almost at our final stretch. I just need to head out for a few more materials and then we can get that done. I topped off my iron, spruce, and coal. Then I set about collecting as many toy gems as I could get my grubby little paws on. So we're back and ready to wrap this place up. So I've made these little street lamp type things just around the pathways, and I've also added in these little stumps so that we can add in some of these wider lanterns just to make sure the path is nice and lit up. Then with all the lighting done, it's time to add some details, and what I've done is just created a bunch of these little plushy animals, and I feel like it would just be cute to leave them around the pathways as if the dogs have just sort of been running around and playing with them and just sort of left them all over the place. And just as the moon comes up, I think it's safe to say that our dog village is finished. As I walked through our doggy village, I knew we had succeeded in building houses. No, homes to house all of our new canine friends. My name is Em, this is Millie, and you have all been amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.